Easter eggs, the age-old surprise nuggets hidden within video games, are planted all throughout the maps of ARK Survival Evolved. With so many teasing wonder, lore, or influence, we ran a poll to find out what were your favourite of all time. And despite some questioning what makes an Easter egg but a secret to discover all the same, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. So in at number 10, one of the more obscure and questionable to find takes us to the bog region of Genesis Part 1, noting the world borders of the simulation, all containing the odd pillar or tree to negate confinement. And to anyone wondering what else following the hexagon-lined barrier will eventually lead you to one pillar being home to a very special character indeed. Built from wood, rocks and mushrooms, the collection builds a Stickman with an ever so creepy smile that you'll begin to wonder what exactly its purpose is. Even more disturbing, getting too close through commands will see it vanish completely from existence, rendering in a new area, but left with a thought, was it built just far enough to purposefully not get too close? In at number 9, and the first known cave built solely to explore the lore behind ARK, to many and even myself when first discovered, leaving little understanding unless following the story of ARK told through the hundreds of explorer notes across each map, as well as later introduced intro and outro cutscenes. Entered via one of the two passageways of the Forest Titan cave, deep within the sunken forest, confined the easily missed corridors, stretching through to a room void of time, overgrown and forgotten of what it could mean, housing what looked similar to the tech beds our survivors could use, and yet so alien, with much deeper meaning than thought. Turning out to be the final resting place of a physical Helena, the game's main protagonist, whom we'll learn more from the upcoming animated series, and a well-documenting paleontologist who we discover her story through notes from map to map, taking us to a huge battle set in the past and leaving her too weak, needing a remaining friend, Mei Yin, to carry her through to and lay into as her physical form turned to light and realize had become our guide in a journey to save the world. In at number 8, any fan of the Elder Scrolls series may have already spotted a huge influence to the most recent map adopting traditional Jurassic themes of those before.
Hey, you're finally awake.
Anyone having taken an arrow to the knee could simply pop up their uncovered map to reveal a heavy influence from the Bethesda developed series. Layout, shape and regions are near identical to that of Tamriel, and within, ruins and strongholds nodding to places such as Winterhold and its snowy glory, Whiterun Marketplace and its now run-down shops, and the ever-watching lighthouse of North Point overlooking the seas. With many more locations around, it's a respectful nod to an otherwise respected series, and certainly a worthy inspiration the map developer clearly has a passion for. In at number 7, one of the more interesting secrets in how it originated and reportedly removed from some versions of ARK. But to those that remember, when Ragnarok first arrived, a fixed spawn screen was offered when making your character, perhaps in some attempt to replicate your survivor kitting out to discover the ever popular map and allow you to just make out some form of decorated cabin. But searching via ghost commands would find the same cabin situate just underneath the lighthouse, with some interesting discoveries. 2 survivors surrounded by custom furniture and items never seen elsewhere in the game, seeming to look like cooked meat, jerky, water and berries, C4 tucked away, and a war map that's possible to break and destroy. Lastly, peeking through the window will reveal a wild stego travelling with wild babies, making these the first and only wild babies seen in the vanilla game. In at number 6, perhaps attributing to the map's success. Fjorda is rich with Easter eggs and most particular influence from the Lord of the Rings franchise, with nods to Minas Tirith, Mount Doom and Helm's Deep. But it's the Grand Halls of Moria that hit you precisely when they mean to. Being a huge fan, especially of Dwarven mythology and the ever-popular One Ring to Rule tales, map developer Nakatas meticulously created the greatest underground city of Middle-earth, setting stage for the first film's Fellowship as they encounter Balin's tomb, again recreated here in ARK, and perhaps one of the most iconic fights in the film as goblins crowd, cave trolls menace and evil awakes, noting an actual mine opposite filled with more metal than you could ever need, and where the dwarves delved too deeply, taking us to the rear of the cave, finding the bridge of Khazad-dûm, a narrow ancient defense against any enemy that shall not pass. In at number 5, and argued to be less so eggy, but to many, including myself until now, easily missable within the Sanctuary without some of ARK's finest lore nerds to help spot. Perhaps more prominent now since ARK 2's reveal of a new protagonist whom had their own story documented, especially during Extinction. Well, a clone that isn't our new clone but was still a clone, and his rise to chief engineer and mech architect Santiago, and his final resting place finds its home under a great mech sword in his sacrificial attempts to keep the titans and corrupted hordes at bay, allowing the other survivors of Camp Omega to escape. Later buried by another prominent survivor, Diana carved his name in stone to be remembered, with a strange, cooler temperature, leaving an eerie afterthought. In at number 4, anyone able to brave the punishingly cold temperatures of Jotunheim, one of the 3 teleporting realms of Fjorda, and able to adventure for more than a moment, could find a tucked-away cave just hidden off a ledge, storing a nod to one of the first fully computer-animated prehistoric films. A fan favourite to the developer growing up, venturing through to the end of the cave, can find a trio encased in ice, being direct nods to lead characters Diego, Sid and Manny of the Ice Age franchise, though perhaps proportionally Sid looking a bit off and Diego being a saber-tooth instead. The beloved animated movies remind us how many mammoths tamed in ARK probably have the same name. In at number 3, a testament to what community is all about, and inspiring both developers and gamers that a touching story of a player losing a loved one would create something all could share. In memory of losing his wife, a player created a shrine underneath what felt like a symbolic area to remember her by, and touched by the story, acknowledging the friends made and years played, that sadly this was just one story of many ARK players lost since the game began. Level designer Jackson Lawrence spent his own time to create a lasting memorial to offer anyone some comfort, with the words, "For those that have ascended," offering a moment to think and a touching tribute. In at number 2, surprisingly voted so high considering it being no Easter egg at all, but a wondrous insight to the support some can forget be overlooked. Within a cave you'd never expect to explore otherwise possesses a shrine-filled treasure trove of nods to those that have supported Fjorda's development through its modded phase. Though through funding or otherwise, it's a real pleasure to see a dev give back through a timeless manner, cementing so that it was a wonder if it would make it to the official version, looking at a very prominent logo that surely could jar opposing servers it's hosted on, and of course an immortalized statue of arguably ARK's best known content creator's favourite creature. Worth noting, Ragnarok 2 has a similar deal with shoutouts within a cave near Wyvern Cove, as well as your most favourite Easter egg. But before we get to that, let's take a quick look at the eggs that didn't just quite make the cut. And in at number 1, perhaps one of the earliest well-known Easter eggs in ARK. The animated franchise, now meme lord generator, really hammers home Shrek is life and can't be escaped from your favourite games. Deep within Raasclark's swamp, we'll find a very, very popular looking hut hidden within the trees, and fittingly, like so many ARK players protective of their bases, the big green troll's residence are waiting to open if somebody once told me. Well, I say residence, I think we forget, isn't this just where Shrek chops a log? And did you agree or think we missed an Easter egg or have another top 10 suggestion? Comment below, let me know. My name is Raasclark. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and as always, peace out.